Hey, it's a Helmet Collector here, and today's video we're taking a look at some very unusual ammo from World War II, so we'll go ahead and get started. So this is a Soviet subsonic round for the Mosin Nagant rifle. Now, if you're like me, you probably didn't know that the Soviets used silence rifles during World War II. There's actually a bit of an interesting history there. So the suppressor the Soviets were using at the time was developed by the Mitten brothers, and as such was called the Bramit device, which is short for Bratia Mittini, or the Brothers Mitten. So, named after the inventors, pretty, normal for the time period. Now, the suppressor itself consisted of 4 pieces and was actually looped around the barrel using the same locking mechanism the bayonet would use. Now, I could go into like a 5-minute detailed discussion about the internal workings of how this particular suppressor worked, but frankly, there's better videos on YouTube than just you staring at this bullet for the next 5 minutes. So, highly recommend go check out Forgotten Weapons videos. I mean, Ian over there is excellent, and he has a really complete walkthrough of how that device works. With suppressors, while you can use normal ammo, it's better to pair them with subsonic ammo because subsonic ammo doesn't break the sound barrier, it's automatically quieter. So when they started introducing the Bramit suppressor, they also started manufacturing subsonic ammo. This is about 1940. And we know that this is a subsonic round because of the greenish paint or lacquer that's been applied to the bullet and then to the base of the cartridge as well. Cartridge is unmarked, by the way. I'm not sure how normal that is. Now, my understanding is when they first started producing these from like 1940 to 1941, they would either paint just the bullet with like a black lacquer or they would paint the entire cartridge and bullet. However, later on, they changed the color coding for the subsonic rounds to a greenish color, and they would paint just the tip of the bullet and then the base of the cartridge. Now, this one, of course, the green paint extends past the bullet onto the neck of the cartridge itself. The person that I got this from had been collecting Soviet ammo for a long time, and they said this is evidence of like a field-modified cartridge because production just couldn't keep up with subsonic needs. So because of that, Soviet High Command actually told troops in the field that had these suppressors to just take the normal cartridges, pour 2/3 of the powder out, and then stick the bullet back in, and that would reduce the velocity enough for it to be subsonic. So they were under the impression, the person I bought it from, that this was like a field-modified round. I have no way to prove that. However, this is a person I dealt with for many years and was very knowledgeable on the subject, so I'm willing to take their word for it. But if you have any information, I'd really appreciate it. Now, as far as the use of the suppressors during World War II, I'll admit, I've read a lot of German memoirs, I've read a lot of unit histories, or at least fragments of unit histories. I don't think I've ever come across a mention of a suppressor being used by, like, the Soviets in combat. Now, these were apparently being issued to scout units, snipers, and then apparently some partisan units were actually getting these supplied to them as well. And apparently there were a lot of them made. We don't have an exact production run. We know they were being produced from 1940 to 1944. And the only year I could find data for was 1942. Apparently there were about 60,000 of these manufactured in 1942, the devices. So even if that's, the high point of production, and let's say it's half of that in 40, 41, 43, and 44, you're looking at, almost 200,000 of these being produced. So if anybody has any first-hand accounts from the Germans of encountering one of these, I'd be very curious. So yeah, overall, pretty neat cartridge, kind of an interesting story behind it. There are some people here in the U.S. that make replica Bramit devices, and I would be very interested in picking one up eventually. However, first I also need to get a Mosin. So yeah, overall, pretty neat cartridge, kind of an interesting story. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment down below. Love hearing from you. Thank you all for watching. Happy collecting, and I will see you all again very soon.